said some stuff the other day and my friends looked at me like, what? They made me feel like I was crazy, and y'all know I'm a bit unstable. Y'all tell me if this makes sense. I am grateful for everyone that has crossed me. Everyone who lied on me, lied in general, cheated, stole, taught me something. And they didn't teach me how to be hateful or how to seek revenge. They taught me discernment. It taught me how to set boundaries and then stand on it. Sometimes the people you holding on so tightly to are really holding you back. So thank you for the lesson, because if it wasn't for what I've been through, I wouldn't be where I am.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and thank you for joining me. Let's get into Taz
And your resident ginger.
And the video that we opened up with, I wanted to play that just to uplift people a little bit because I know sometimes we can get down. And in watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, there's something that Johnny Depp said today. Now I have to watch on and off because this trial is very
Yeah, I
triggering.
missed it.
But he said when you're in the public eye, people can say whatever they want about you unsubstantiated. Now, I said this beginning maybe 17 years ago, and I say it sporadically since then. Everybody has a public. Everybody has a public. Everybody is in the public eye to an extent.
Mhm.
And we all face the same things. Excuse me. Somebody can come out and say something about you to tear you down. People will not fact check. People will not talk to you, but they are quick to talk about you. But take it as a lesson that you get discernment as to who to navigate yourself around and who to navigate yourself away from. So don't feel bad because a rumor comes out about you. Baby, those that know you will know the truth.
That's right. It's usually about,
Because
you see a lot of people having to pick sides about who, especially when it's two people that are in some way the public eye, whether you're both celebrities of, movies or sports or whatever it is. You get so much of picking sides with literally everything that comes out between two people that gets broadcasted, not just on TV, but like I said, now with, social media does that more than anything.
yeah, because I'm the furthest thing from a celebrity. But sweetheart, I could spend a whole year telling you how many rumors, how many scandals have been put on my name. Heck, Chris and I, our friendship was tested because somebody decided they wanted to put out a rumor
Yes,
regarding the two of us. Fortunately, we were like, we didn't do anything wrong. We had a good laugh about
facts.
it. We moved on. And it didn't get any traction because we gave
No.
it no attention. We gave it no weight. We laughed about it behind closed doors
And
like,
that's it. If you don't give it, if you don't give a fire fuel, it's not going to keep burning at some point. So
so please
we didn't.
stop. Yeah, please stop buying into the adage that, oh, this person isn't saying anything. It must be true. No, this person realizes it's not true and it's not worth their energy.
Correct.
Folks that feel like they need to go and fight for their lives every day on social media to go, oh no, that's that. Those are your guilty ones. Those are your guilty ones because when you're not guilty, where's your fight? Nobody was coming to arrest me or Chris. Nobody was coming to take our homes away from us. Nobody was coming to take our jobs away from us. So what was the point of engaging? Because the
When
person who started said rumor, everybody that was asking them like, okay, what's going on? They had no answers.
when you have to collect minions to support you, you've already done dirty.
Yeah, and it's the same people that when you ask for receipts, when you ask for proof, they have none.
Right.
It's just trust me, bro. Mm-mm.
It's just opinion, just
And I'm gonna tell you
speculation.
something,
Speculation.
right? And I'm gonna tell y'all something. My mom and my granny told me many, many years ago. When you're in the right and you start arguing with the person that you know is lying, people aren't going to pay attention to the fact that they're lying. Their sole focus is going to be on your reaction. When you remove your reaction, then they can see the liar for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if they choose not to see the liar, they like the mess. And if you ain't a pig, you don't want the mess.
No, but drama loves company, and so people will find people that like drama.
It part. But let's jump into it.
Well,
First one is an article coming from Newsbreak. USFL player cut by Pittsburgh Maulers over wanting pizza instead of chicken salad in team hotel. The Pittsburgh Maulers start their USFL season Monday night after Sunday's game was postponed due to inclement weather, and they could be facing a few questions about roster construction and organizational decisions. The USFL released a United by Football documentary in the weeks leading up, to week 1. To le- Week 1 of the league's reboot, showcasing teams' training camp practices and locker room buildup. In the documentary, a clip went viral regarding the Maulers cutting Smith. The reason Wilson released Smith in the video is an interesting one, to say the least, as revealed in the documentary. As revealed in the clip, Smith wanted pizza over chicken salad. He asked a hotel worker in Birmingham, Alabama, where all USFL games are being played, if they had pizza instead of chicken salad. When Smith asked if it would be a problem if it wasn't possible, he claimed he only said yes before walking away. Wilson offered a deeper explanation on the release after Monday's loss. I have a set of standards that we go by as football team. Wilson said those standards weren't met. That individual knew that we had a prior agreement that led to a later misunderstanding. Once those incidents were brought to my attention, I addressed them immediately. That's your standard because I've been a coach. Uh, and there were times in traveling we got a stipend, and I tried my best to like poll the team, or if this stipend was a certain amount where I'm like, I can't poll the team. This is what you got to eat.
right.
If somebody wanted something else and say their parents gave them money, or I had a little extra change in my pocket, I would try to accommodate them, but I wasn't kicking somebody off the team
Right.
because they didn't want to eat something.
This whole thing just seems ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about a professional league team.
Yeah, and what gets me is that the coach is like, I have a set of standards. It's chicken salad versus pizza. I'm sorry, as a former coach and a former athlete, after I've played, after I've practiced, as much as I love chicken salad, that ain't what I want. That is not what I want.
I mean, we got to remember the USFL was formed with guys that had been out of college for a few years, then having other jobs before they went and tried out or got called up. These people have been out in the real world for a while now. So to have them switch off certain things like a food preference, it just seems totally uncalled for. Like, I mean, come on. Can we not work with these guys some? I mean, they're trying to make a living. They're not getting paid NFL wages. So,
and it's like, not only these are very, very, very grown individuals.
yeah.
These are not straight out of high school, straight out of college. I don't know how life works type of people. Urbane.
Hey, Urbane. Well, Urbane, I guess that was a sign you're not welcome.
Gee, I thought I got you high enough. It is 420. And before y'all start flipping out, they're doggy treats. So calm down. I didn't give my dog weed. Jesus.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah, he does.
He's high on life.
Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, these you can't mold them.
No. And like I said, it just comes down to working with these individuals that were put together not too long ago to be in this league. And what standards? I'm like, I don't get it.
See, that's the part that is the part that truly gets me. Like, standards are
what are we holding these guys to? Like, seriously, these guys are The majority of them are not going to get called up to the NFL. Yes, they are trying to look the part so that they can get attention from pro scouts that are watching these games. But the majority of them, when all is said and done, we don't know how long this league's going to continue. We've seen this before, but they're going to ride this out as long as they can. And other leagues have folded, trying to be the G League of the parent company.
And it's
So
like they need to realize just because the NBA
mhm,
can have, all the way down to the D League, the
mhm,
MLB can have all of,
yeah,
the NFL is too much of a contact sport.
right,
You can't do that.
right.
But let's roll our first video of the night. And this one is a put a finger down challenge. So be honest in putting your fingers down. Let's see how this works out for all of us.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
I'm not going to tell you what this is until the very end, but put a finger down if any of these happened to you before your 18th birthday. Put a finger down if a parent or an adult in your household humiliated you, insulted you, swore at you, or made you feel physically unsafe. If a parent or an adult in your household kicked, slapped, punched, or threw objects at you with intentions of hurting you. Someone at least 5 years older than you sexually abused you. You felt that there was no love in your family and no one would be there to support you. You were worried about where your next meal would come from. You often had to wear dirty clothes, or your parents were too negligent to take you to the doctor. If your parents were ever separated or divorced. If a parental figure experienced domestic violence. If you lived with anyone who had an addiction. If anyone in your household experienced mental illness, attempted suicide, or was depressed. If anyone in your immediate household was incarcerated. What I just read to you was the ACE test, or the Adverse Childhood Experiences test. This is something that psychologists use to determine if someone may have developed PTSD at a young age. If you've experienced 4 or more of these, your childhood was considered adverse.
I only had
Okay, I probably had two. I had two of those. Mhm.
I only had two. And those of you all watching, you don't have to tell us what you
Mhm.
experienced. I put that up there. If you watched for a while, or if you know me personally, because I know certain generations, we weren't really giving proper talking points. We weren't giving proper resources. But now that we are in control, for the most part, in this country, of where our life goes, if you have experience, like she said, 4 or more, please seek treatment. And I got some information today. If you happen to have Blue Cross Blue Shield, uh, their teledoc services now with a $0 copay offer therapy sessions. So
Mhm. Take
may give them
advantage of it. Take advantage of what's out there. If you got to
a,
Google it,
yeah, and there are some apps that will put you in touch with therapists, whether you want to do it like via Zoom or Skype
mhm.
or through text, just over the phone, whatever's comfortable for you, because people are now beginning to realize we're not one size fit all. Everybody can't do everything the same
I mean,
way.
I look at the world that we live in as number one, nobody's perfect. Number two, we all have dealt with or are dealing with something. And three, control you can control your environment about who knows your information, who doesn't, and where you seek help. Seek it from a reliable source. If you're not going to professionals, go to people that you not only trust with your information, but maybe that have gone through things, so that this is someone that won't judge you, because that is in a lot of ways what keeps people from getting things out, is the fact that they fear being judged or being labeled. And I can understand that, but we still have to take care of ourselves. Doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. At any age, if you're feeling things inside of you, then you need to talk to somebody about that, because number one, you're not alone. That should be first. There's people that deeply care about you and can help you in whatever way possible. So don't hesitate, don't wait. The sooner you do this, the better. The longer you wait, more builds up, and we can only carry but so much around. We're humans.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Before we go to the next clip, coming out from AOL.com, Justice Department to appeal order voiding travel mask mandate. Those of you all that joined me yesterday, we talked about the idiotic Trump judge. If you're not familiar with her, go back to videos. My audio podcast is there, or click on the link in the bio for Tastastic Tuesdays. That goes into detail regarding her. But it says the Justice Department is filing an appeal seeking to overturn a judge's order that voided the federal mask mandate on planes and trains and in travel hubs, officials said Wednesday. The notice came minutes after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention asked the Justice Department to appeal the decision handed down by a federal judge in Florida earlier this week. Of course, Florida. The notice of appeal was filed in federal court in Tampa. The CDC said in a statement Wednesday that it is its continuing assessment that at this time, an order requiring masking in the indoor transportation corridor remains necessary for public health. It remains unclear whether the Biden administration would ask the appeals court to grant an emergency stay to immediately reimpose the mask mandate on public transit. An emergency stay of the lower court's ruling would be a whiplash moment for travelers and transit workers. Most airlines and airports, many public transit systems, and even ride-sharing company Uber lifted their mask-wearing requirements in the hours following Monday's ruling, which I think is stupid. Y'all know better. Y'all just trying to kill everybody. This is why aliens no longer come to the United States and abduct people. Because Chris, I know you old enough to remember where it seemed like every other week somebody in the United States had an abduction story regarding aliens. But the more and more that we show how stupid people are here, they're
from Florida.
No, Urbane. But of course, the most unqualified judge at 33 years old with no trial experience, no nothing. All she did was clerk for SCOTUS Clarence Thomas would say, yeah, let's overturn it because a mask doesn't sanitize anything.
That's the Thomas
You're
family.
a whole judge. You are a federal district judge and you don't understand the word sanitize?
Well, you said the key that this was clerked under the Thomas. Yeah, it might as well have been in the lived in the community where DeSantis lives. Yeah. And it's crazy because Florida is like such a travel destination for many people, especially those in the eastern half of the U.S. because of the cruise line ports, Disney and beaches. And this is what the state deals with. Is a I don't know what you could classify DeSantis as, but
and this is why my only travels to Florida, I've never been to a destination spot in Florida. I've never really spent a lot of time in Florida. I've been through the airport. I go down to board a ship or for a connecting flight, and I'm on my way. But in good news regarding jacked up politicians, once again, we have two videos. And these are dealing with the Trump twat, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And this does not involve the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
For once. But it's coming. Oh, it's a-coming.
Yes.
Here we go. Like I said, there are going to be two videos. We'll see you in 2 and 2.
Something in that bluegrass.
I just read something that made me extremely happy and I wanted to share. Georgia Congresswoman and all-around lunatic Marjorie Taylor Greene is being sued by several voters in her district in an effort to block her from running for re-election this November because they allege that she was part of an insurrection against the government. And there's some code section about that. She tried to get the case thrown out. The judge refused to have the case thrown out. There is a hearing on Friday, and she is squawking about how she is going to be forced to take the witness stand in open court on Friday in a state court, not a federal court. State courts allow cameras. She's freaking out because she's going to be the first Republican who has to go under oath and testify about January 6th in a courtroom with cameras.
I'm Marcus Flowers, the Army veteran and Democrat running to unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia. This is my best friend, Max. We've been together for 91 dog years. He has 3 legs, and we do just about everything together. So when we launched this campaign, I decided to name him Senior Advisor.
Max has a paw on every aspect of the campaign process.
All right, guys. Who keeps getting into the flyers? And that's why I'll always work for better healthcare, rural broadband, and most importantly, universal dog treats for all.
Cut! Who's adding these dog lines to the script?
Max takes this title very seriously.
She's not kidding.
This is like the one thing he wants.
Literally, this is the biggest picture that we could print.
Well, what do you think? He won't even look at it.
You know, I think everybody likes Max. He's well respected within the campaign.
He's fun.
He may not be your typical senior advisor, but he's always been there for me, and I've got his back. All kidding aside, we're building a movement to unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene here in Georgia, and our campaign is fueled by grassroots donations like yours. So please chip in whatever you can and help us restore honor, decency, and integrity to Congress. Thank you.
Get him, Urbane.
I love the humor behind that. That's why I had to use that one. He has a lot more serious ones, but...
And I'd vote for Max over Marjorie.
And let's not forget, I know I pointed this out last night, but let me reiterate this. Marjorie Taylor Greene moved from one district in Georgia to another because she knew she couldn't win in that district. She went to where, oh, these people look like me. They'll agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now these same people are suing her. And and that the gentleman giving commentary is absolutely right. We know that in federal courts, no cameras are allowed inside. But in state, she's not freaking out because she has to testify. She's freaking out because there will be cameras there. Mm-hmm. So there aren't going to be reporters in there trying to give a synopsis where she can say, oh, well, they got this wrong. They misquoted me. Mm-hmm. And we know how federal cases are. It's not so easy to get the transcripts. It's not so willy-nilly provided to the public by the time it gets to that point. So she gonna have to tell the truth, or she going clink clink.
She gonna bring out the Q. Call on the Q. Because she's knee deep in all that stuff. Under oath.
She's booted deep in it.
But the thing is, everybody that does dirty, and there's obviously a laundry list which goes on and on and on, they're always afraid of being under oath, period. Being in front of camera under oath is like a double whammy, because obviously we know that there's facts out there, there's proof out there, but they insist that when there's no cameras, like you were saying, or people around, that they always counter whatever it is. I mean, that's just the game plan. I mean, you're always going to counter whatever the facts are saying, as, fake news or whatever. So this should be a popcorn time.
And y'all know, as much as while I'm working during the day, I stay glued to court TV because I don't do reality. Well, I shouldn't say reality TV because so many things fall under the category of reality TV because I do like my cooking shows. But I don't do soap operas and stuff like that or daytimes. I watch court TV.
You are a court VIP.
I watch court TV. And
Urbane says, can we put it on Animal Planet?
No, he has an iPad dedicated to him because he likes when the tiny humans came over every time they come over, they like this. It's only 2 seasons. I don't know what's going on with Netflix, but it's called Pup Academy. And he likes to watch that because there's a dog that I believe is an extra. I really can't keep up with this show because from what the tiny humans tell me, it draws from other shows that they don't watch here at my house. That I'm not a kid. I'm not sitting here watching. So there's some things I miss, but it's parent approved, and I know their parents watch everything with them. So that's what he watches while I get my court TV.
While he's not sitting around waiting for your daughter to arrive. Yeah. We know how that goes. He's the Karen at the window.
He's shady. He deals with me because I have a bigger budget than her. But I feel like if she ever made more money than me, he would leave me. He's a trophy. He's a trophy pup.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Karen at the window. Yeah. Yes, Urbane, you are.
And he's now even a Karen at the window when we get in the car. He bad. But let's go to this month's ad. Don't forget the code is TAZ424 because my birthday is Sunday. Straight to
That's right. And mine's around the corner on Mother's Day.
Yep, it is the best season of the year. It's tour season.
I get a double whammy, Mother's Day and my day on the same day.
Hey, I get Orthodox Easter this year.
I said, isn't my mom so lucky?
That's what I said to my children. I was like, you get a second Easter and my birthday all wrapped up in one. But we'll see y'all in 2 and 2. Let's get into the ad.
Painted wool.
Because a lot of people have been confused over the past few months. When I put out a discount code, it is site-wide. I just do videos for the new items that I put up. All of the previous items, unless they're seasonal, like the New Year's items, Easter items, Easter items will still run through the end of the month. But like Halloween items, I do take them down until that season comes up again. But other than that, you can use a discount code throughout the entire website. It's not just for the products that I'm showing you. And for those that are asking, why did I choose dog designs to create? Have you not met Sir Puppers? Mr. Urbane. That's why. He gets on my nerves, but I do still love him. And I'm still his mama.
And the code is 424 for a reason. So take note of that. And if you would like Urbane's face on your tote bag, please see Tad.
And if you would be so inclined, if you want to send me a birthday gift, I do have an Amazon wish list up. It's nothing that's expensive. Y'all know that I'm a comic book and a book
And
nerd.
it's nothing that's outside of Star Wars, Marvel, and some DC.
And a few books in there, because that is.
Yeah.
Wait till May the 4th comes.
So in case you were wondering about the Nerdvana of the Taz, it's strong and it's ongoing. Just ask the local comic book store. So yeah, that's
they know me by name. They even know my children at this point.
She's not Captain Sweatpants, but you know.
And it's sad because there are one comic book store that's up the street from me and one that's in a whole different city and state from me. They know me and they know my children because they know my children when it's time to buy a gift for me. Mm-hmm. They know where I usually purchase at. So they go to those places and go like, what doesn't she have?
Yes.
Because they know if they go upstairs to my office, I'm on them.
She's got everything she wanted from here. Find another store. Go online. Go on.
Yeah, because I took my youngest son with me to go get comics, and he's like, "Yeah, she's here every week."
Yeah.
And my son looked at me, and I was like, "Where did you think I was getting the comics to gift you?"
Right.
He's like, "So I have comics you don't have." Oh, whoa! Pump your brakes. I didn't say that. I didn't. That's
but
not.
Remember, comic book stores don't just have comic books; they have figures, characters, things you can buy at home, Star Wars characters. So,
and if any of my children are watching, if you happen to go to the Trader's World flea market and you go to the Harry Potter Dumbledore booth, the two wands that are right at the top, when I get my shelves put up over here, I wouldn't mind having those wands for my shelves. Just saying.
Yeah, they're not the ones you get off of some of these other places where somebody had cut a tree branch and mailed it to you.
These are, I saw them. They're impeccably crafted. I just couldn't get it that day.
Are they numbered? Are they limited? Are they signed by the artist of
the
wand maker?
It's all of that. It's just, I'm used to going to flea markets where I can use Apple Pay or I can swipe my card.
Yeah.
This one, I forgot. It's booth to booth, whether you can do that. And I couldn't. And there's one person that, it's not a bank that handles their ATMs. So if it's a non-bank ATM,
it's a fee.
For security purposes on all of my accounts, I can only take out so much money. Mm-hmm. So I could not take out enough cash to get them.
For all the goodies.
And I had already made promises to my children that there were things I was going to pick up for them. So I had to leave the wands. My children are happy though.
And Urbane was not used as down payment, so that's good.
Yeah. But my children are the same ones that had me make them Easter baskets.
Yeah, you're crafty. We know how you crochet.
They range from 21 this year to 28 this year. And I had to, of course, make Easter baskets for the tiny humans, because if I do something for somebody else and don't do it for the tiny humans get in their feelings. And there's 3 of them and 1 of me. And I'm not trying to have in my obituary that I died by the hands
of Baby Boss, Jack, and Dash.
Did you? He really took his bowl out of. Anyway, coming from Global News, Elon Musk vows a $0 salary for Twitter's board after poison pill is adopted. Elon Musk took a swipe at the board of Twitter on Monday after the social media company adopted a poison pill to protect itself from the second biggest shareholders, $43 billion cash buyout offer. Yeah, Elon Musk really offered that much to buy Twitter and privatize it to protect free speech. Not if you're making it private, but I digress. Board salary will be $0 if my bid succeeds. So that's $3 million a year saved right there, Musk tweeted in response to a user's post criticizing the board. Musk, a self-described free speech absolutist, but he sues everybody who criticizes him.
Shouldn't he be worrying about Tesla?
But he sues everybody that criticizes him, but his cars are poorly made, shitty crafted, and keep killing people because they keep catching on fire. And anybody who goes, no, Taz, that doesn't happen. Explain that to the family of a friend of mine who lost their sister, who was a nurse, driving home from work, and her shit burst into flames where EMTs couldn't even save her.
But we all
They couldn't
like
even have a real
Tessies, but
funeral
everybody
practice.
has to have a Tessie. No.
So, who has been critical of Twitter's policies, did not elaborate on the tweet. Twitter did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Musk is trying to stronghold Twitter because Musk doesn't want to talk about the fact that last year he called California a fascist state because he was not adhering to COVID guidelines, and one of his factories got shut down by the state for a few days for deep clean, to protect his workers. But in China, the CCP shut him down a few days ago. He hasn't said anything. He's trying to distract people and he's trying to stronghold because he's tired of people going onto Twitter exposing him.
Mm-hmm.
He's still mad that he got exposed, that he's not an inventor. He didn't invent anything. He did not found Tesla. He invested, just like he's doing with Twitter right now, and to the point where he became the majority shareholder and then just took over the company and booted the people who came up with the technology. Why do you think nothing's getting fixed right now? And the original co-founders.
Why is there not more of a buzz about Tesla if it's so cool to have?
Exactly.
Remember, a stylish car doesn't equal a long-term deal. Unless you looking to lease a car for a year or less, 6 months, a lot's being told about a car that you know little about.
And the thing about it is, with social media and social media influencers,
oh yeah,
you're not even getting that many social media influencers talking about Tesla. And when they do talk about their Teslas, all you ever see them do is charge them.
right.
Or they'll sit in their car and tell you about the cool features.
Right.
They're not on the road. They're not doing all these cool things that Tesla promises.
Right.
And like I said, a good friend of mine, her sister that she recently reunited with, who is a nurse that we know now more than ever, we need every RN that we can get. Driving home from a shift on the highway, her Tesla combusted. Like, the family couldn't have a traditional funeral.
Right.
Because trigger warning, anybody who needs to step away for 1 minute and then come back. She melted into the car.
Yeah. So I choose life over an exploding cool car, what people would say is cool. Yeah.
And you know how much I love technology.
Yeah.
And the fact that I still don't have a Tesla,
yeah,
y'all pay attention, because if the technology is safe, trust and believe I got it. Chris will tell you, if the technology is safe, I got it in my house.
Remember, Tesla is not Apple. If Apple were making cars, that's different. Because I drive.
But going back to politics, the QAnon folks, they're trying hard to cover up the pedophilia and the corruption in the GOP. Not sure what I'm talking about? Y'all take a look at this, because I don't even know how to truly preface this. It's so egregious, and my heart goes out to this woman, this representative. Just watch. Just watch.
Thank you, Mr. President. I didn't expect to wake up yesterday to the news that the senator from the 22nd district had overnight accused me by name of grooming and sexualizing children in an email fundraising for herself. So I sat on it for a while wondering why me. And then I realized, because I am the biggest threat to your hollow, hateful scheme. Because you can't claim that you are targeting marginalized kids in the name of, quote, parental rights if another parent is standing up to say no. So then what? Then you dehumanize and marginalize me. You say that I'm one of them. You say she's a groomer. She supports pedophilia. She wants children to believe that they were responsible for slavery and to feel bad about themselves because they're white. Well, here's a little bit of background about who I really am. Growing up, my family was very active in our church. I sang in the choir. My mom taught CCD. One day, our priest called a meeting with my mom and told her that she was not living up to the church's expectations and that she was disappointing. My mom asked why. Among other reasons, she was told it was because she was divorced and because the priest didn't see her at Mass every Sunday. So where was my mom on Sundays? She was at the soup kitchen with me. My mom taught me at a very young age that Christianity and faith was about being part of a community, about recognizing our privilege and blessings and doing what we can to be of service to others, especially people who are marginalized, targeted, and who had less, often unfairly. I learned that service was far more important than performative nonsense like being seen in the same pew every Sunday or writing Christian in your Twitter bio and using that as a shield to target and marginalize already marginalized people. I also stand on the shoulders of people like Father Ted Hesburgh, the longtime president of the University of Notre Dame, who was active in the civil rights movement, who recognized his power and privilege as a white man, a faith leader, and the head of an influential and well-respected institution, and who saw black people in this country being targeted and discriminated against and beaten, and reached out to lock arms with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he was alive, when it was unpopular and risky, and marching alongside them to say, "We've got you," to offer protection and service and allyship to try to right the wrongs and fix injustice in the world. So who am I? I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom who knows that the very notion that learning about slavery or redlining or systemic racism somehow means that children are being taught to feel bad or hate themselves because they are white is absolute nonsense. No child alive today is responsible for slavery. No one in this room is
And on, and on, and on. Keep on preaching on.
Amen.
Preach on, and the church said, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
That's what we call facts.
Woo! She put facts on facts on facts.
Nothing like facts in a world
And the
of.
thing about it is, for her to bring up her original church and the fact that they had a problem that her mother wasn't there every week, but her mother was teaching her what the church should have taught her. And before y'all go, Taz, isn't your father a pastor? And we speak on this. And the fact that I back my father as a pastor is that he backs me on my homeless initiative, that we have an outreach, that I go up between my pockets and his pockets. We feed the needy. We feed the poor. And not only do we feed them while they're sitting in the church, y'all have no idea how many to-go boxes that I make. that how many bags I collect from church members when they go grocery shopping so I can send people home with stuff. And then I always make sure there's more sitting in the refrigerator in case we have somebody that may have come in late and they may go up and ask for prayer and go, you know what? I just want some prayer because I ain't ate in 5 days. They will pray. And my daddy will look at me and I'm like, I got it. Come on back in the kitchen with me. What do you eat?
Mm-hmm.
And we put it together. But if you are the head of a church and you telling somebody they're not enough because they're doing the word that your religion says that they should do,
then I don't know what word you're going by.
ain't that the truth?
That's not the God I know.
Mm-mm.
God
But
I
here's
know
some we saw this coming news.
Ooh.
This is another news break article. Donald Trump appears to storm off of Piers Morgan's TV interview in advert. Former U.S. President Donald Trump appeared to storm out of an interview with Piers Morgan after he was questioned about losing the 2020 election. A dramatic 30-second advert for Morgan's new show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, to feature on Rupert Murdoch's Talk TV, also showed the former president calling the presenter dishonest and a fool. During the interview, Trump, 75, appears to become agitated when Morgan tells him that the 2020 election was free and fair and that you lost. The former president responds, "Only a fool would think that." Morgan then asks Trump if he thinks he is a fool. He replies, "I do now. Yeah." And you know what's messed up is that Piers Morgan is a piece of shit.
Yeah. There's a history there. Give him the big L.
Like, for Trump to...
It's a loser fest. But for Trump, that just goes to Trump worried about who's watching and is this gonna... He's always worried about affecting some form of his supporters that he will lose.
Chris, this is almost as bad as if you remember a few years ago when Alex Jones of InfoWars was going through a divorce. And I caught in the divorce proceedings that he said, because his wife was like, "Oh, he's a fraud." And he's like, "No, my podcast and everything that I do is for entertainment purposes." And I exposed it on Instagram. And Alex Jones' dumbass came and liked and commented on my post. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
This is worse than that.
Yeah.
And by the way, y'all, he did try to lightweight sue me, saying that I was the reason he had to pay his ex-wife as much money as he did. No, because I used his words that he had already said in court. I just put it out for the public because it was public knowledge. It's not like I knew the words beforehand and whispered in Sister Girl's ear and told her.
I would give him a code so he can go get some of my pillows or my sheets or my slippers or whatever the hell he's selling now.
Here's the thing. Everybody keeps, all these GOP members keep cheering Mike Lindell on. But as his company is tanking, because nobody's actually liked it, it's not comfortable. But I don't know who trusted a crackhead to make comfortable betting. And I'm not being funny. He was a crackhead. He was conquering his addiction and he was like, "Oh, this is comfortable." One thing I know about working with addicts, y'all not gonna know for a few years past your sobriety. And no, I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not condemning or judging anybody. But I've heard this from actual addicts. It takes them a few years to figure out what is truly comfortable because of what they have gotten comfortable with. They will sleep on the floor because they done sold their bed. And if you think I'm joking, scroll back down through this page. There is a series where I talk to addicts and let them tell their stories. So don't think that I'm trying to be disrespectful. I'm being serious. Who decided in the midst of rehab, which everybody's questioning his rehab because it doesn't seem to be thoroughly documented, allegedly, how he came up with this company that nobody truly likes the products.
Yeah.
Because even Trump-la-fucks, they were like, oh, we're gonna buy up everything My Pillow because he backs Trump. His sales didn't increase. Like 5 or 6 people bought the stuff, and they couldn't even put out a positive review.
Did people forget that years ago he lost his BBB rating? He got stripped of it because of all the complaints, all the cases against the products.
Just
I think it was Bed Bath and Beyond were carrying it for a while, and they took that out.
And my thing is, I am an avid shopper of Bed Bath and Beyond. Like, well, one particular location, because of the people that work there, and they're very honest and very helpful, and I love them. But here's the thing: just like when people ask me, when I'm crafting and I post something on Instagram, and Chris, I'm sure you've seen this, where they're like, "Oh, when are you going to sell this?" I will gift to my close friends and to my family. I am anemic. What works for me, and because I get to know my close friends and my family, I know what works for them. I cannot mass market to the public, because what I send you, either it's not going to keep you warm enough because I'm going to be self-conscious about me being anemic and making it too thick for you, or you going to burn like you in Hades, because I'm going to make it like I would make it for me, because I don't know you personally. And sometimes you got to know your limitations. Right. But we got 3 more videos. This one, trigger warning. A Georgia teen was locked in a closet. A substance was put on him, and he was called homophobic slurs. And we don't even know if he's a member of the LGBTQIA plus community. And I am not lessening what was going on. I'm just giving you the facts before you watch this video. And please don't make any assumptions. Just listen to the facts that are presented. Let's go.
So this happened 2 days ago. Georgia teens locked classmate in closet and doused him with cleaner while using homophobic slurs. It has not been confirmed that this student was actually a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and even if that was the case, they would not release that personal information without their consent. However, the 4 students that assaulted this person made the assumption. And apparently it was a very violent attack. The students' safety is a top priority, and the students have since been arrested. And of course, all of this comes as Republicans around the country have advanced legislation to prohibit teachers from even discussing LGBTQ issues, including Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill, which experts warn will not just put LGBTQ kids at risk for bullying, but fail to educate straight kids properly as well. Like I've continued to say, both these bills, as well as the legislators putting them in place, their rhetoric, whether it be on social media or the news media, is escalating these events. We are seeing more and more harassment, bullying, and like this, violent acts. So I wanted to bring attention to the Rainbow Youth Project. They are a nonprofit social welfare organization that promotes the health, safety, and well-being of LGBTQIA plus youth. All of their information is listed on their Twitter page. And sadly, in addition to the story I've just shared with you, within the last week, this organization has funded a funeral service for a 17-year-old in El Paso, Texas, who took their own life because they quite literally feel like they are not wanted by society. Currently, there is a massive uptick in LGBTQIA youth that are looking to get services from this organization and other organizations like them. Currently, this particular organization has more than 200 youths that are on a wait list just to get therapy sessions and some type of outreach. I have put a link in my link tree to their Twitter page, and I'm asking everyone to go follow them, support them any way you can, whether it be donations or if you have services you're able to donate. I also just want to bring attention again that if you are standing by and staying silent while Republicans and the GOP pass these legislative bills, continue to speak against the LGBTQIA plus community, and basically motivate this type of hate and horrid behavior, you are part of the problem. I don't care what part of the political fence you call yourself. If you are not actively speaking out against this and these bills, you are part of the problem. The end. So any way you guys can help, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, that's just anti-humanity. The GOP is just anti-women, anti-black and brown, there's just so much out there that they're doing against communities that are to be respected and represented, and they don't want to.
Well, this is part of the reason why they don't want CRT taught. This is why they're fighting so hard against certain things. Because when you get to the point where you're banning math books, claiming that critical race theory is in a math book, you want to embolden what you've indoctrinated your children to believe. You want your children to go to school and do exactly what this said. For those of y'all that you do not know, yes, I am back on TikTok. And if you all would like, I can share the video that I have on TikTok breaking this down over here. I know it's too long for Instagram, but I can share it over here. I will not share it on Facebook because we all know Facebook is one of the most closed-minded places left on the planet outside of Parlay. Oh, I'm sorry. As the GOP says, parlor. But let's get into the second to last video.
Jailer faces up to 30 years in prison for allowing black inmates to be attacked by white supremacists. A federal jury convicted Matthew Ware of violating the civil rights of 3 inmates in Kay County. Prosecutors say that he ordered another employee to move 2 black inmates to a unit that had white supremacist inmates. Investigators said Ware knew the black inmates would be in danger. Ware also ordered the cells of the inmates to be unlocked, which led to a violent attack. A 3rd inmate was restrained in a position with his arms extended for 90 minutes. That resulted in physical injury. Ware will be sentenced this.
Where is this place? Like, who does all these violations in it?
But these are the same people that'll be like, well, what about black on black crime? You mean the racial trope that was instrumented to
why not
put
just
a
invite them
blanket
to
Band-Aid
why not just
over
invite them to sleep in Hitler's youth? I mean, yeah.
Oh no, we're not done because this last one, it's a doozy. And I chose this one because I actually saw this one myself. And this is one that I pulled this onto here because I looked at the comment section of this original post and I didn't know if people were stupid, never were parents, or just crass, or just indoctrinated. But I'm going with motherfuckers are just stupid. You understand what I mean? After you hear it out, you don't have to try to read it. The words that are on there are being read out loud. So don't squint your eyes, but pay attention, turn your volumes up. And here we go.
I called Child Protective Services on my daughter and she is facing losing custody of her baby. For context, my daughter is 15 years old. She has been living in my house with her 2-month-old son since he was born, and I recently reported her to Child Services. She has a case opened and the case manager is on the verge of recommending removal, several factors at play. When she first told me she was pregnant, I told her she either got an abortion, gave the baby up for adoption, or she could have the baby, but I would give her nothing but what I am legally required to. She had only recently started high school, and I will be the first to admit I took the news exceptionally hard. I was scared out of my mind for her. My wife had always kept things open and told me she'd taken her to our local health department to talk about birth control. Our daughter opted out and her doctor was in support, so we got her a large bag of condoms in the event she were to choose to become sexually active. She was prepared, she had the knowledge, she refused the birth control and ended up pregnant. Honestly, we couldn't even afford to support her and the baby if we wanted to. My wife hasn't worked since 2011 and her disability hardly makes a dent in our expenses. We finally had to downsize our home and sell my wife's car just a few months before my daughter announced her pregnancy. I was working hours that just weren't sustainable and my wife needed me to help her at home. About 5 months into the pregnancy, my daughter insisted on raising the baby. Her boyfriend moved away to live with family in another state and didn't tell her. She found out when the relatives made a post on social media about how excited they were he was there, and then she was slowly blocked by the rest of the family. She hasn't heard from him since. He has never met his son and the family has never reached out. I told my daughter when she refused to abort that I would in no uncertain terms support her child, that I would love and treat them like a grandparent is expected to, but I would not be financially responsible for its care or keeping, and if she could not find a way to provide, I would call the appropriate authorities to intervene. She dropped out but only got a part-time job, was unmotivated to get her GED or diploma through adult education. I actually offered to pay for her class fee and test fees, and expected that my wife would take care of the baby while she was at work. She would often forget and miss a feed, refused to pump milk regularly and got a major breast infection, would often delay changing to save money on diapers. It was not a good situation. My wife and I of course were there behind her and have been using formula and making sure he was getting nutrients, but my daughter was not nurturing this child in any competent manner, and while not malicious, was often neglectful of the baby. It wasn't easy to make the call, but it was necessary and something I had long prepared to do. My daughter hates me, my wife is empathetic but has stood by my decision from the start, and I am both uncertain and at peace with my choices. Part of me feels like I did the best I could for everyone involved, and part of me knows I betrayed my daughter on a horrible way, and part of me knows that this baby deserves better than what she, and really we, could provide.
Now, given that this person said within the states and in our states, they're in the United States, so they did not inform their daughter that there are organizations that could have helped her out financially and helped her out with daycare so that she could complete her schooling. He is ignoring the fact that his neglect and what he put on this child has increased her obvious postpartum depression. So instead of getting her help for her postpartum depression, he increases it.
Yeah,
She wasn't forgetting the signs that he was describing. That's postpartum depression.
Yeah.
She's 15. She can only work part-time with a work permit. He knew that. And he's like, oh, well, let me tell y'all why a lot of women opt out of birth control, because it affects us negatively. It changes our hormones. It changes our moods. It can cause more pain.
Yeah,
It can cause pain and sickness to the point where we can't function. We can't work. We can't even get up to take a shower. So we have to make informed decisions. And if a doctor agrees with us, take heed. But you're putting all the blame on your daughter, but not looking at the father of her child got moved to a whole nother state. And the family obviously knows that this child exists, but they're like, woo, he dodged a bullet. We glad he here. And you're putting that on your daughter's shoulders on top of postpartum, and you're willing to pay for an abortion. You don't have money for shit else, but you can pay for an abortion, a GED, and everything else, but not the education that comes to her for free that she was already getting. And the comments section was like, well, this father did everything he could for her.
This was all done in-house. Like, this was all done under the roof. There was no outreach to any resources out there, and it started off as a negative to begin with because of
the people who were saying that this father did everything that he could. I'm like, he didn't do anything. And I'm telling y'all, as a teen parent, and I'm not saying this as a badge of honor, but hell, my children came out wonderfully, but I'm a disciplined person. My parents were disappointed, but let me give kudos to my mother especially. My father admitted he didn't know where to look for help from me as a woman. He admitted that. But my mother hit the ground running and found all sorts of resources to help me. Not just to make sure I raised my children properly, but to make sure I could continue my education so that I could move into a career where I could take care of my children.
Right. Yeah, there's more than, yeah.
My parents were not like, oh my God, if you don't do what we say, we're not going to do X, Y, and Z. My parents were like, look, we can't afford this extra amount, but we will figure out a way to make it work. Even if, because you're still in school, you can only work X amount of hours. Okay, fine. And my first couple of paychecks, I expected wholly to turn it over to my parents. But the beauty of my parents were, they did the math and they're like, okay, you and this child are staying in your original bedroom. You were still our child, you were still a minor. They broke down the math so much that they were like, okay, just give us this amount per month. Because when you're at work, when these lights would have been off, this water would have been off, this is what we have to pay. It was legitimately pennies on the dollar.
Right.
People act like bringing someone else into your house greatly increases something. Unless this person you pulled off of my 600-pound life, how much is your life really changing? Because if y'all sitting in the living room watching TV together, how does that affect your electric bill?
Well, that's what they did. Like you said, they did the math. They sat and found a way to make it work for everybody involved so that everybody can still continue living as productive as possible without it totally turning somebody upside down to where they're down and out. You've tried to find the light in the darkness and make it work.
And you can't tell somebody from the time that they conceive to basically hate their child and increase postpartum depression and then call them neglectful and then put them under this stress, because I've been put under that stress also. And Chris, you know, shit, I got called an abusive parent because me and my children decided, why are we paying for a cable bill? None of us watch cable.
Right.
Okay, let's cut the cable bill off. The amount of people that called me an abusive parent, I was like, I didn't cut off the insurance.
You didn't cut the water off.
I didn't cut off the car, didn't cut off the water, didn't cut off the heat, didn't cut off the electricity.
People forget
Me and
cable.
my children
People
were
forget
just like,
cable and some things are a luxury, because I've been down.
Just like, and remember when Hulu first came out and you had the free option for Hulu? That's what me and my kids had. And the shows that we like to watch were available on Hulu. We couldn't watch it the night that it came out because we know Hulu is 1 day delayed, right? And it's like, we're not even watching all of these channels. And my kids were like, well, Mom, we like it when you take us to the arcade and we do this. And I was like, well, we can go more often if we just do Hulu. And they were like, fine. Nobody was home for a live anything.
Oh, I went years without cable where I was using the antenna to pick up local channels and PBS. I was a PBS pro during those years. I saw it as a luxury. If you can't do it, you can't do it.
Well, I still had Wi-Fi. I still had the streaming service. And that's when I first started pushing Pluto TV to people. And people thought that I was BS. And now it's picking up traction and people are understanding that you can even get your local channels on Pluto TV, you know, when you actually sign up for it.
Right.
But I'm like, I got accused of child abuse for not having cable.
Well, some people think cable is like electricity and water, and it's not. Cable, just like streaming services, is something that if you're within your means, you can do, you can have. If it's outside of your means, you pick your priorities. Light, water, food on the table. Those are things that you need. Cable and streaming services are a plus. You don't learn that until you go through some stuff.
On for the kids to be able to do their reports and research stuff.
Right.
And be able to get into the virtual rooms with their teachers.
Right.
But the same people who were accusing me of this were the same people taking multiple trips a year to Vegas and leaving their very much minor children in the house by themselves and not alerting a single adult about it.
How about that?
But as always, thank you all for joining us tonight.
We do.
And I will see you all tomorrow. And don't forget, my birthday is Sunday. Chris's birthday is May 8th.
Mother's Day, easy to remember.
So,
Ginger Day. So when everyone's celebrating for their moms, or whether you are with your mom, whether your mom is in a higher place, whatever, whether you are the acting mom as a guy, just remember that my birthday is on that day.
And also remember that 2 days after my birthday, I'm going to get the blood work done for Sir Urbane so he can get fixed, so he can leave me the hell alone. But as always, one teach one, each one reach one. Don't all no. Till next time, y'all. Chris,
bye.